This is a picture of the superintendent's house. This is where Joseph C. Hart and his family lived. He had a wife and a son who lived in that house. And by the way, the son and the grandson came to see me over at the other cultural center quite some time ago. And I was surprised because I didn't know he was coming.
What year was that picture?
This picture, this might have been, this is kind of early on because you can see there's no trees and there's a picket fence or a fence all along the outside here. This building is the little boys' dorm, but in the other pictures, all the middle part is all painted white. If you can, it's paint. You can see that there was something else done to it, and yeah, all the girls here are in the same dresses, white or light color. I don't know if they're white, but they're light color. And this is probably about. It doesn't have the date on here. Usually they do by Kruger. Kruger was the secretary for Joseph Hart. He was also married to a Father Thorne's daughter, so there was a connection there. Is Kruger, who was the photographer. He was a secretary for Joseph C. Hart. He was also married to Father Thorne's daughter. Father Thorne was the priest for the Episcopal Church. So they were all connected there. And I'm glad that Kruger did all these pictures because now we have an excellent record of that whole era, of what happened to the students at the Oneida boarding school. And he had a very good home. And over here is like a day room. I call it a day room, where the people who were the staff would go there and they'd have games and whatever over there at that day room. The hospital for the boarding school was behind the day room on this side here. And I looked at it reminds me I looked at some of the records in Chicago at the archives, and it said there was one manifest that said they had purchased 300 apple trees. I have no idea where the apple orchard was. We don't see it on the pictures, and we do have a picture of the gardens. They had extensive gardens. There is a picture of that somewhere, but I have never seen a picture of these 300 apple trees that they purchased.
You talked about the staff. Who were the teachers or the instructors?
I don't know the names. Those would be in the records in Chicago too. But there were about 6 people who were Oneida tribal members who were on the staff. And Woody Webster's mother and dad were 2 of them. Isaac Newton Webster and Josephine, his wife Josephine. Dr. Josiah Paulus, before he was a doctor, was there on that staff. Henry Smith, his house is in one of these pictures. Right, I think this one here. Henry's house is right there. Henry Smith. He was the head farmer, and he was Oneida. Right there, you can hardly see it. Henry Smith was the farmer, and he had a little boy. His wife passed away, and then he married again. And we have pictures of him and his first wife and his little boy. And he was tribal, and there were several other tribal people I don't know all of their names, because I don't have the list from Chicago of who all they were, because they would have their salaries listed, and when they were employed and when they were not employed. All of that would be in those records.
So there was a mix of tribal and non-tribal
That's right.
instructors?
Most of the staff were non-tribal, but there were about 6 people who were tribal who were employed by the school.
Do you know of any successes that came out of the boarding schools? And what did they do?
Well, Dr. Josiah Paulus was probably one. He went to Marquette to medical school after he was working as a staff at the boarding school, and became a medical doctor. Henry Smith, the farmer, the whole duration of the boarding school, I think he was the head farmer. And they not only produced milk and meat and vegetables for the school students, they also produced extra for the community that they could sell to the community. They had to raise things like oats and hay for the animals, that kind of thing. So that's why there's probably not very many trees, because they used most of the land for farming purposes.